Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamini Namine Namaste Saraswate Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesh Shunyavadi Paschat Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Welcome all of you to our weekly Gita class. So last time, maybe we can just have quick reflection what we discussed last time. No, there was no question.
Will it top?
Yeah.
Please.
It's about setting a good example in the society. If you want to become a good leader, become who you want to be first before people can follow you. And then you give examples of how Lord Ram did what he did to set a right example. Yeah.
Thank you. Very good. Anything else?
The broader topic was, is God or is Lord or is Krishna bound by karma?
Mm-hmm.
So that was a broader topic.
Easy?
Let's discuss.
Discuss. So we'll keep that topic to discussion. Actually, I didn't touch that topic at all just last time.
Yeah.
I just talked about setting a good example. Anything else? Yeah?
Continuing to that point, but to be successful in all aspects of life, material and spiritual, you said you need 2 C's, character and competence.
3 C's. Character, competence, and culture.
But you gave 2 examples of doctor, one AB doctor, character competent. Which one you choose then? And third said both.
Correct.
And another thing you said was, what is the best gift you can give someone?
Mm.
Then you said the right example.
Right.
You said the right example. That is the best gift you can give.
Actually, in one such forum, there was a question raised to my spiritual master when he was speaking in one university. They asked, why do we need sannyasis in society? Everyone can get married, everyone can have a family and practice Krishna consciousness, be spiritual, like Arjuna. Any idea? It's a good argument, isn't it?
Yeah.
Why do we need renounced God at all? So anything you are saying?
For examples, like you said, because in order to, the best way to learn is from acharyas, right? Leading examples, and that's how the families can actually learn from it. By seeing
What will they learn? Because if they can be Krishna conscious, what will they learn from sannyasis?
how to live renounced, even if they are not fully renounced.
Very good, yes. So can you open the door?
It's open. Oh, okay.
It's open.
आराम से करो प्रभु जी हैं.
Yeah, so therefore, we have the renounced order in society just because they can set the example for the grihasthas to follow. Because grihastha means one has to have a background, one needs to have family, they need to go to shopping mall, they need to purchase clothes and live in luxury sometimes. So not too much, some minimum they need. So they can easily get entangled. So having renounced order in our society sets the example for them to show how to be renounced. For them, the renounced order becomes the role model. So they know gradually I have to come to the point of taking sannyas. Isn't it? So therefore, renounced order exists. Yeah. So anyway, last time we were talking about these topics. Thank you for sharing. So today we'll just continue these couple of verses that we will start. So this is 3.22. न मे पार्थास्ति कर्तव्यं
न मे पार्थास्ति कर्तव्यं
लोकेषु किंचन
त्रिषु लोकेषु किंचन
नानवाप्तम् अवाप्तव्यं
नानावाप्तम् अवाप्तव्यं
वर्त एव च कर्मणि
वर्त एव च कर्मणि. Share screen.
I'm sure.
You see? Oh yeah.
Can someone read?
O son of Pratap, there is no work prescribed for me within all the 3 planetary systems, nor am I in want of anything, nor have a need to obtain anything, and yet I am engaged in prescribed duties.
Yeah. That means when Narada Muni visited Dwarka, he visited 16,000 palaces Krishna had. One palace for one queen. Therefore he can marry. So when Narada visited each of these palaces, he saw Krishna being engaged in normal household affairs. That means in one palace, he was playing, chess with his wife. In another palace with another queen, he was, they were worshipping the Supreme Lord together. So like that, in different household, Krishna was performing different activities. Why is he performing these activities though he is not bound by them? To set an example that by being a grihastha, you have certain duties to follow. When Krishna follows them. For example, Krishna, when he comes to this world, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna that I know your past, the present and the future of all living entities, but me no one knows. Maam tu vedana kaschana, like that he says. But then you will find Krishna, when in childhood he accepts a guru. Who is his guru? Sandipani Muni. Why does he accept a guru? To set an example that we need to accept a guru. Similarly, Lord Ram also accepts guru. Who? Vishwamitra. So in this way, they also set an example. So Krishna is saying the same thing. Though he is not in need of a guru, he doesn't have to follow any rules and regulations. He doesn't have to follow any duties. He is not bound by karma. So therefore, for him, there is nothing that he has to be engaged in according to scriptures, but still he follows scriptures to set the right example for entire society to follow. Like that he says. Yet I am engaged in prescribed duties. Also, we were discussing this last time. Tam Ishvaranam Param Maheshwaram Tam Devatanam Param Chadevatam Patim Patinam Param Parastad Vidamadevam Bhuvaneshamidyam Natasya Karyam Karanam Cha Vidyate Natat Samaschab Yadikas Chadishyate Parasya Shaktir Vidhaiva Shuyate Swabhaviki Jnanamara Kriyacha. So this says that the Supreme Lord is the control of all controllers. He is the greatest of all diverse planetary leaders. Everyone is under his control. All entities are delegated particular power only by the Supreme Lord. That means if Ganapati has the power to remove obstacles, that is by the mercy of Krishna. Any demigod, like Kubera is the treasurer of the demigods. People worship Kubera for money. Who gave him the power? Krishna gave him the power. Gita says. He is also worshipable by all demigods and the supreme director of all directors. Therefore, he is transcendental to all kinds of material leaders and controllers and is worshipable by all. There is no one greater than him and he is the supreme cause of all causes. That means, will you ever ask a CEO, not CEO, but the founder? He is not actually bound by anything. If you actually see in India, some companies, there are people who founded the companies, the people who are running the companies basically. They come once in a while, they just ask how is the business going. They just look at some papers and they'll go away. It's just like a field trip for them. But people working under them, they have to take it very seriously because they receive salary. Isn't it? Sometimes the people at the top, they are anguta chap. They don't even know how to put a saying. But they are running the family business. So similarly, Krishna, for him, everything comes from him. So he is the cause of all causes, means he doesn't have to follow the laws in the material world. But still he does. This is mentioned in Shweta Upanishad. Can someone read this? Like the next one.
He does not possess a bodily form like that of an ordinary living entity. There is no difference between his body and his soul. He is absolute. All his senses are transcendental. Any one of his senses can perform the action of any other sense. Therefore, no one is greater than him or equal to him. His potencies are multifarious, and thus his deeds are automatically performed as a natural sequence.
So in this world, everything is running by his energies. The physics energy, chemistry energy, everything is his energy. The laws, everything is his energy. Therefore, Krishna doesn't. By his Ichcha Shakti, when he desires something, it's already manifest. As the Bible says, how did creation happen? The Supreme Lord said, God said, let there be light, and there was light. Like that they say. Why it's called as Ichcha Shakti. As soon as God thinks of something, immediately it's present. Because all the energies are at his beck and call. Just like, sometimes you have observed in your home, say your father is receiving a guest, As soon as the guest comes, the father looks at the mother and just with the signal of his eye, mother immediately goes, cooks something and brings for the guest. He didn't even have to say a word, isn't it? Why? Because they understand, they have a good synchronization. Similarly, Krishna and his energy have good synchronization. As soon as Krishna desires something, the energy is done and make it happen in no time. यदि यहम न वर्तेयम जादु कर्मण्य तन्वितः मम
वर्त्मानुवर्तन्ते मनुष्या पार्थ सर्वशः.
For if I ever fail to engage in carefully performing prescribed duties, O Partha, certainly all men would follow my path.
Yeah, so therefore, a leader has to be very, very careful in how he behaves. See, here the same thing says. From the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is understood that Lord Krishna was performing all the religious duties at home and out of home as required of a householder. This is the example. Utsideyurime loka न कुर्याम कर्म चेद अहम संकरस्य च कर्तास्याम उपहन्यामि मः प्रजाः.
If I did not perform prescribed duties, all these worlds would be put to ruination. I would be the cause of creating unwanted population, and I would thereby destroy the peace of all living beings.
सत्यकर्मण्य विद्वांस
यथा कुर्वन्ति भारत कुर्याद् विद्वांस तथा सक्तः चिकीर्षु लोकसंग्रहम्.
As the ignorant perform their duties with attachment to results, the learned may similarly act, but without attachment, for the sake of leading people on the right path.
No. So as the ignorant perform the duties attached to results, the learning may act similarly act but without attachment, for the sake of leading people on the right path. Yeah. So though we know one will, you can say the learned people like Janaka, we were discussing last time. I think Janaka is a pure devotee. He doesn't have to act in this world, but still he acts just to lead the public. See, I'm just going to, because this concept was already discussed last time. I was covering the verses. So now you can, Gaurav, can you read?
Oh, we're not going to read the verse, bro?
No, because this concept is covered last time. I want to get to today's concept.
So as not to disrupt the minds of ignorance men attached to the fruitive results of prescribed duties, a learned person should not induce them to stop work. Rather, by working in the spirit of devotion, he should engage them in all sorts of activities for the gradual development of Krishna consciousness.
Yeah, so we should never tell people give up everything. Give up and become a sadhu. You don't have to study, you don't have to work in a company. Like, you don't have to take care of family, give up your home, go to Vrindavan, settle there. He never gives such advice. Yeah, so therefore, here Krishna is explaining the Bhagavad Gita that simply artificial renunciation of activities is highly discouraged.
For the HDMI cable to a Mac.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have nothing there.
So can someone read the purport?
Vedascha sarvaim ahmeva vedya. That is the end of all Vedic rituals. All rituals, all performances of sacrifices, and everything that is put into the Vedas, including all directions for material activities, are meant for understanding Krishna, who is the ultimate goal of life. But because the conditioned soul do not know anything beyond sense gratification, they study the Vedas to that end. but through fruitive activities and sense gratification regulated by the Vedic rituals, one is gradually elevated to Krishna consciousness. Therefore, a realized soul in Krishna consciousness should not disturb others in their activities or understanding, but he should act by showing how the results of all work can be dedicated to the service of Krishna.
Yeah. So basically, what is being said? Artificial renunciation is discouraged. We don't have to give up anything. We just have to connect them to Krishna and make it Krishna conscious. That means if you are a scientist, become scientist for Krishna. If you are an engineer, become engineer for Krishna. If you are working, work for Krishna. If you are studying, study for Krishna. People cannot artificially give up. So this is the verse for today. Can you zoom it in more? प्रकृते क्रियमाणानि कर्माणि सर्वशः
गुणे कर्माणि सर्वशः
विमूढात्मा
अहंकार विमूढात्मा
अहमिति मन्यते
कर्ताहमिति मन्यते
प्रकृते क्रियमाणानि कर्माणि सर्वशः
गुणे कर्माणि सर्वशः अहंकार विमूढात्मा
अहमिति मन्यते
कर्ताहमिति मन्यते.
So you can read the translation. It's very simple. Yes.
Spirit so bewildered by the influence of false ego thinks himself the doer of activities that are in actuality carried out by the three modes of material nature.
Yeah. It's saying what engine is connected to this one. Saying it's unstable. Okay. Yeah, the spiritual bewildered by the influence of false ego thinks himself the doer of activities that are in actuality carried out by three modes of material nature. That means, so today's topic of discussion was, am I the doer of my activities, or are there any other factors at play? How many of you have had this experience that you have put so much effort in something, still you have not got the result? How many of you have had this experience that you didn't put much effort, but you still got the result? That means we are not the doers. Very clear. So Krishna tells here in the Bhagavad Gita, a person who thinks it is by my effort I actually reap results, he is a person who is called as Vimudhatma. That means a fool. Mudha. Vimudhatma means Vikrishta Rupena Mudha. That means a special or Vishesha Mudha. Vishesha Mudha means special type of Mudha. Because he thinks that by my capacity I can attain something. For example, once we went to catch the train in the subway station. We went and we were waiting for the A train, the Skemahan station. As the train came, it slows down and comes to a halt. So I was standing there, and we were all standing there. So then I said, "Okay, train, stop." And the train came to a stop. You guys are laughing, but it came to a stop. And then I said, "Doors open." And the doors opened. And I got in and I said, "Doors, now you can close." And the doors closed. So then I was telling Sachin Prabhu that see, because I am telling the train, it is happening. Isn't it? It's just like a person goes to the top of a hill at 5:30 in the morning and says, "Okay, sun,
Rise.
now you rise." And as he said, the sun is rising a bit. Now, is it because of our command the sun is rising, or the train is moving, or coming to a halt, or is opening and closing its doors? Why not? You cannot just say no. You have to give some explanation.
Because it's going to happen anyways, regardless of you being there or not.
Okay, thank you. Anything else?
The driver is doing it.
The driver is doing. Who is the driver of the sun? Surya. Okay, the driver is doing it.
Subway train.
Subway train driver is doing it. Okay, like that. Okay. Anything else? So therefore, in this world, we think that, especially when we see cause and effect in sync, we think the cause of that effect is me. just we actually call it should actually be called as coincidence, isn't it? Like for example, many people they put a lot of effort, and as soon as they put so much effort and they get the result, what is the common misconception?
I did it.
I did it. Of course, I did it with a raised collar. Many a times, one student came up to me and said, "Prabhu, do you know what? That day I was I was wanting this particular sweet in my lunch or in my dinner. I came to Sunday feast and that sweet was there." And then he said, on another occasion, one day I really wanted the Bhagavad Gita. Not Bhagavad Gita, I really wanted to study one particular book of the subject. And I went to the library, it was right there. That book was right there. Then what was his conclusion of these events? He said, actually I am in control of these things. As soon as I desire in my mind, the material energy arranges itself that I get what I want. And in Boston when I was there was one boy named Vivek. I'm pretty sure he's not joining this class, I can use his name. So this Vivek, he used to come to our center there and he told me, "Arjun, let me tell you one thing. Actually, I can do whatever I want." He told me. I said, okay, people also think they can do whatever they want. But he said, if I want, I can produce a research paper tomorrow and I can make this special machine which can get my parents all the way from India to my home at my doorstep. So I understood some symptoms of madness is there in him. But a week later, I got a call from him, not from him, from a doctor. And she said, he gave this Vivek gave them my number. Actually, he was admitted in hospital for depression. You know why people get depressed? Especially when people falsely think things are under my control, and when they realize they are not. That's when people get depressed.
But even the opposite can be true for depression, right?
What?
That they think that nothing is in their control and nothing's working out, and then they get depressed as well.
No, if when they see that nothing is in their control, and when they don't have any expectation that things are under their
No,
control.
not expectation I'm talking about. I'm
Okay.
talking about they are frustrated that nothing's happening in their favor because nothing is,
No,
they cannot
so
control.
then there's last time I told you about the Zen story,
Yeah.
that he had a cup with the special crystal cup. He always thought in his mind, this cup is broken. So when it was broken, he didn't mind it. It's only when we think that this cup, I'll treasure this cup always, I'll always travel with my cup and show off this cup to the whole world, and think that this will never break. And then when it breaks, one goes into depression. When you understand that this is anyway going to break, there's no cause for depression.
I think I'm not talking about that. That is
Because-
something which we know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can add to his point
Yeah,
as well.
please.
Like, for example, I want to achieve something and I
Yeah.
put that effort and everything, but I still have not accepted that things might work
Yeah.
or might not work in my way. And
Okay.
that during time, that frustration is there, and that also causes depression or anxiety, whatever you want to call it. But let's say I wanted to get a promotion. I worked very hard for it, and I have not accepted that maybe God does not want this for me. During that time, it does happen.
See, okay, so when we discuss this matter a little more deeply, you'll understand what I'm trying to say is we do not have the right conception of how the world is working, and that's what bewilders the mind. When we actually know things are not under my control, actually people will not go into depression. Why? Because when you know things are not under your control, your endeavors will have a better direction. When I know, for example, when I know for an example that if I attend this exam, and if I, for example, I want to get into an IIT, I'm applying for JEE Advanced, but I'm not sure if I can actually get into get into the IIT, I can crack the exam. Then I'll keep my options open. How many of you will keep that as the only option? Really? Even if you are sure that if you're not sure about getting it,
Yeah.
still you'll keep that as the only option.
Until and unless I fail in it.
Okay, for example, let me make it clear that you yourself know your passing the exam is only 50%.
Still I have 50% chance to
Yeah,
get
50. Yeah, but you'll also you'll also be planning for the opportunity side by side, no?
No, once I fail, then I'll plan.
Well, what if the other opportunities will,
Then Bhagya will play its role, as you said.
Bhagyan, okay. Actually, what I would have done is I keep my options open. What is options open? If I understand my intellect and my preparation is not up to the mark, then I know I will attempt this. But at the same time, I'm also keeping my other doors open because anything can happen here. It's called playing safe.
But then
Like
you
Rahul
said-
Dravid in Test
You
match.
said we are not the doers.
Oh, that had come. That has little
Are
more
they
deeper
the doers?
understanding. That has a little more deep understanding. So, so the point is, when we actually understand how the life works, how is this material world working, then we can actually direct our efforts. No one can say, I know I will fail, but still I will attend this exam, and this is my only door. No one can say that. It is because inherently we believe that I am the doer. And when that is challenged, when our false ego is challenged, for example, if I am a mathematician, you come and tell me, give me a physics question, and say this is a basic physics question. Even if I cannot solve, I don't care. But if I am a mathematician, I consider myself as a big mathematician, one of the greatest in the world, and if someone says this fellow is very pathetic at maths, it will hurt me deeply. Why? Because my false ego is challenged. What identity I was identifying with throughout my life as the greatest mathematician, when that is challenged, I undergo something called as the identity crisis. This is what Arjuna underwent on the battlefield. In the second chapter you will find. Arjuna was thinking, I am the best archer. But then when he saw his own family relatives, his identity was challenged because he wanted to be the best archer. He had the skill set, but he could not lift the Gandiva because of weakness of heart. Isn't it? That's when Arjuna also went almost into a depression because the ego is challenged. So therefore, when we understand how things work, and that's what we want to see in this verse today, Krishna is explaining to Arjuna, actually don't think yourself to be the doer. That means if you fight the one you kill, you are actually not killing. Because there are many other things at work. So, a spirit soul bewildered by the influence of false ego, therefore false ego is said. What is that false ego? Our own misidentity. He thinks himself the doer of activities that are actually carried out by the three modes of material nature. So what I will do, you can ask a question once I explain. Because I don't unnecessarily speak the same thing which will be explained by what I'm going to speak. So in Srimad Bhagavatam it is explained that when Arjuna, of course, he won the war, and there was a time when Krishna left this world, the Yadu dynasty was wound up. And at that time, Arjuna goes to Dwarka and he collects the queens of Krishna to protect them, keep them protected. But on the way back, many of you may not have heard the story, something happened that shocked Arjuna. What was that? A bunch of infidels, like some local rowdies. Arjuna is a national warrior, saved the country and everything. And some local rowdies on the street, they came, they defeated Arjuna, they kidnapped the queens and went away. And Arjuna was shocked. He was shocked, how did this happen? I am the one who impressed Shiva with my efforts. I am the one who impressed Indra with my efforts. All the Kauravas were afraid of Pandavas just because of Arjuna. But that Arjuna became a failure in front of a bunch of infidels. How did this happen? Krishna left. Yeah. So then of course he goes back, and then he goes back to the kingdom in Hastinapur. And Yudhishthira is shocked to see Arjuna in a very morose state. And Yudhishthira asks a bunch of questions. What happened? Did this happen? Is it that your junior disrespected you, or probably you did not get what you wanted? Like that he asked different questions. And finally he asked, perhaps is it because Krishna has left this world? He says yes. And second, because he lost the fight with those infidels. And then being depressed, Arjuna again remembers the instructions of the Bhagavad Gita. And it is at that time he finds peace of mind. Why? What had happened? Krishna actually gave the skill set to Arjuna to fight the war. Once the war was done, Krishna's mission was fulfilled. Krishna withdrew the skill set. Now if Arjuna thought, I am the greatest warrior, by my capacity I defeated entire Kauravas, Now no one can stand before me and say after that he got defeated by infidels. What will happen?
Depression.
Depression.
Isn't it? Then that's when it happens. Because you see, what was the identity of Arjuna as the greatest warrior? If I understand that this is not my game, if someone defeats me, it's okay. Because false ego is not challenged. How many of you are getting this point? Okay. How many of you are saying it for the sake of saying it? Okay. Yeah. So in this way you will find actually I have to title but see, in Bhagavad Gita there is a tripod. You have to understand the tripod. What is that tripod? There is one leg is, or the 3 points of tripod. First point is super soul. There is other point called as Jiva, and third point is Prakriti. Are all of you with me? 3 points. The Jiva can only desire. Jiva cannot do anything but desire. That desire is informed to the super soul in the heart. And the super soul looks at our karma, looks at Kala, and he has to sanction it. Only when Krishna sanctions it, Prakriti carries out and makes the arrangement. So material energy is under the grip of Maya Devi, that is Durga Devi. She has to make arrangements. And she is not our Dasi, she is Krishna Dasi. We cannot say, okay, because I wanted sun to rise, sun should rise. We cannot do that because material energy is not under us. Material energy is under Krishna. So, therefore, now taking this into consideration, you have Jiva who can desire, Super Soul as the sanctioner, and Prakriti as the arranger. So these 3 things, again I will repeat. Jiva as the desirer, Super Soul as the sanctioner, and Prakriti as the
Arranger.
So for example, say I want to speak. First of all, I should have desire to speak. So now I desire to speak. Now because I desire to speak, that desire is recorded by, it reaches Super Soul. So Super Soul sees, does this fellow have in his karma account to speak? And if I do, Super Soul sanctions. And material energy is getting the green signal from Super Soul. So material energy allows me to move my mouth. Because this is all material energy. Isn't it? Sound is material energy. Bhumi, Rapo, Nalo, Vayo, Kam, Mano, Buddhi, Revacha. There are 5 gross elements and 3 subtle elements, all are material energy. They binna me prakritarashthana. These are my separate energy, Arjuna, Krishna tells. So this is material energy and therefore this is not under our control. This is under Maya's control. So now if Krishna sees that this fellow has desire to speak, but according to his karma, I cannot sanction it. Or for whatever reason, I cannot sanction it. Then what happens? I have desire to speak, but I may be dumb. I cannot speak. Isn't it? Say I want to lift my left hand. So as soon as I desire that I want to lift my left hand, immediately Krishna sees. Does his karma allow? Yes? Okay, Maya, do it. Then she arranges the material elements. She allows the material elements to, in such a way that I can actually move my hand. If Super Soul says, okay, this is not sanctioned, this is Hare Krishna. If the Super Soul says, this desire is not sanctioned, is declined, then what will material energy do? What will she do?
Not give energy.
She will not do anything because there is no sanction. Then material energy will not do anything. That means you want to lift, but there is something called as paralysis. You cannot lift. So therefore, now if I if I'm writing in a book, now who is writing? Any idea who is writing? Simple question. All studying in the US. Who is writing? If I'm writing a book, who is writing?
You are right.
Am I the only writer? No. It has to be, I have desire to write, sanctioned by Krishna, arranged my material energy, then I can move my hand. You able to understand this point? So anything happens in this world, there are three controllers. There is Jiva, but he can only desire. There is Super Soul who can sanction, and there is Meteorology who arranges. Similarly, you will also find another category. First, there are immediate doers, then there are remote doers, then there are ultimate doers. For example, say you bagged a gold medal in physics. Who is the immediate doer? You, because you put effort. Who is the remote doer? Teachers, parents, who helped you study well for the exam, who gave you support. Who is the ultimate doer? Krishna, because he gave you intelligence and capacity to write. So therefore, in this way, Krishna explains to Arjuna, we are not the only doers. Therefore, this verse says, those people who think that by my capacity I am, doing everything in this world, such people are called as Vimudatma. They are called as special type of fool. Vishesha Muda. So therefore, in Kena Upanishad, an interesting story comes. Once the demigods and devatas are always at fight. Always. Sometimes when the devatas win, that time the auspiciousness in the universe increases. When the demigods win, when the asuras win, then the tamas increases in the world. That means more killing, more abortion, so many things. Sinful activities increases. So one such fight, in one occasion, the demigods won. And all the Indra, Chandra, Vayu, everyone was thinking it's because of me. That time the Supreme Lord saw these people are actually, during the fight they took help of the Supreme Lord. As soon as the demigods are challenged, immediately they go to Brahma. Brahma goes to Shridakshay Vishnu, who is lying in the milk ocean. And then they offer Purushukta prayers. Om Sahasra Shirasha Purushaha Tahasrakshas Sahasrapat Sabhumim Vishvato Vritva Atyatushta Dashangulam Purusham Evedikam Sarvam. Like that they offer prayers. And only then Lord Vishnu sometimes even doesn't show himself to them. And he says, okay, no problem, I'll take care, don't worry. You guys go back. Now what had happened, these demigods after winning, they forgot who helped them. They thought it's because of my effort. So then say they were partying after the war. When they were partying, the Supreme Lord wanted to teach a lesson. So he came as a small boy. And as he was coming, he came as a small boy, he came with a blade of grass. And he was just standing up, away from the party. So Agni saw this small boy, very attractive boy. So Agni went and he asked this boy, hey, what do you want? Where do you come from? He said, I wanted to know who is the one because of whom the demigods won this war. Agni said, actually, don't tell others. It's because of me. Yeah, seriously, they were pretty serious about it. And then the boy said, oh really? What is your capacity? Agni said, wherever I desire to burn, everything becomes inflamed and burned to ashes instantly. This is my power. Boy said, oh really? Very hard for me to believe. Can you? And he put the blade of grass on the ground and said, can you please burn this blade of grass for me? And with all his power, with all his strength, and with all the fire, he was trying to burn the grass. And as soon as he stopped, he saw the grass was untouched. Nothing had happened to grass. Again he tried with all his power. Nothing happened. And saddened, he went back. And looking at this, Vayu came. And he asked Agni what had happened. Agni was not ready to say anything. And then Vayu went and met the boy. And when Vayu met the boy asked, because of who was it that the war was won by the demigods? Vayu said, it is because of me. And he said, oh really? What is your power? He said, I can blow even mountains away. Then he said, okay, can you move this blade of grass? And Vayu, with all his strength, he blew strong winds, but to no avail. The blade of grass hardly even shook. And the Vayu was embarrassed and he went away. Like this, one demigod after another, everyone came, but no one could move the blade of grass. And finally Indra understood. He was observing all this from a distance. So he came and he looked at the blade of grass, he saw the boy, and then he understood this is the Supreme Lord Vishnu himself who has come as the boy. And then Krishna, he revealed himself and he said, I just wanted to teach all of you a lesson. And it's not because of your endeavors that the war was won. It is because of my blessings. And from there the famous statement, not even a blade of grass can move without the sanction of Krishna, has come from that pastime. This is mentioned in Kena Upanishad. So in this way we will find, usually when there is coincidence, sometimes when we desire something or we act towards something and when the result comes, the common misconception by a conditioned living entity is to think that it is because of my effort it has come. But there are many other factors, especially the sanctioning of the super soul and arrangement by methodology. Now what lessons we can learn from this? First of all, we should understand, when in this world things don't work out our way, we should first of all ask ourselves, did I do my best? You know, like we have a session called as do your best and leave the rest. But sometimes people don't understand. People try to do someone else's best. We should do our best. You know the famous pastime of Hanuman and squirrel. They both were lifting. Hanuman was lifting huge boulders. Squirrel was lifting small stones to build the Ram Setu. Now if squirrel tries to lift big boulder, you know what will happen? Huh? No, you come check me. Isn't it? So it will not work. So therefore, Hanuman was telling squirrel, hey, get out of the way. You are almost contributing nothing to building the bridge. Immediately Lord Ram was there. He corrected Hanuman. He said, Hanuman, don't have this attitude. You are doing your best and squirrel is doing its best. So similar. So therefore, for us the lesson should be, as soon as we put effort in something, the question comes. First question we should ask ourselves, did I do my best? And I can tell you personally, since the time I started doing this in my life, I became very peaceful. In my childhood, whenever I would, the Indians, as soon as they finish a paper, what happens?
How was your exam?
How was your exam? We will again do the post-mortem of that question paper, full analysis and where I'm going to lose marks and everything, and become depressed that I not get how much I expected, which naturally affects the next exam, isn't it? But when we apply this principle by asking the first question, did I do my best? Yes. Is there anything else I could have done? Yeah, probably I could have written the question answers faster to finish in time. Probably I could have attended the easier ones first, and then I could have attended the other things. Some things, learning points here and there. Write it down. And next time you can make sure to follow it. Isn't it? So therefore, when we understand things are not under our control, first of all, we can be satisfied with our effort and use failure as a stepping stone. Not to get depressed, not to get affected by it. Then second, when we don't get what we want, when we get what we want, we don't have to discuss, we are all happy, isn't it? So what is really of discussion is when we don't get what we want. So when we don't get what we want, second thing what we can do is, we can understand that it is not in my karma. Probably in last time I attended an interview which I didn't deserve, and somehow I got into it. I got the internship. So therefore, sometime else you put effort, but you will not get. There are many things into play. Karma is into play, isn't it? We don't know the cause and effect. So therefore, the second thing we can tell ourselves is, I tried my best, but then it was not sanctioned by my karma, because of my karma. Then we'll be peaceful. Third thing what we can do is, when we face such failure, we can immediately understand this is mercy of Krishna. I was supposed to get an F, but by Krishna's mercy at least I got B. You can say like that. Because for his devotees, Krishna protects. Like once Sri Prabhupada was in the kitchen and disciple was cutting vegetables for him. He was cooking. While cutting vegetables, he by mistake cut his finger. So that time immediately he went to Prabhupada and said, Prabhupada, your Krishna cut my finger. He said. Prabhupada said, your neck was supposed to get cut, but he only cut your finger. Why? Because as soon as we become devotees, Krishna takes our karmic account. So we don't have any karma now. But he sees, okay, for this person to improve, for Arjunānanda Dāsa to improve, he is becoming little proud. So let me give little failure in his life. Actually, if I was in material life, I was supposed to be smashed by that failure because of the intensity of the failure. But Krishna gives a token punishment. Token punishment means like 1/6 he might give, 1/10 he'll give. But it is needed to help me become a better devotee. You able to understand this? So as soon as we become devotees, we're chanting Hare Krishna. Krishna is very particular. Just like he could manage, he became individual. He separated himself into 16,108 forms to deal with each and every wife personally. Similarly, he has divided himself into unlimited number of forms just so that he can deal with each one of us personally. It's not that when he is looking at Krishna, he is by mistake he forgot what Shiva is doing, and looking here he forgot what someone else is doing. Some people say, some probably Krishna doesn't see my suffering. No, Krishna sees everything because he is individually, personally available for each one of us individually. So therefore, even if we are undergoing suffering as devotees, what is understanding? That this suffering is just a token punishment. It is not the full-fledged karmic punishment that I actually deserve. And therefore Brahma says, therefore we can always be grateful. Being Krishna's devotee, we can always be grateful. Because our conditions were supposed to have been much worse than we actually deserve, than we actually got. Isn't it? So what are the 3 things we can do in face of failure?
Did I do my best?
Okay, first thing we can ask, have I done my best? Then be satisfied. Okay, second?
Maybe it's not in the karma.
Yeah, probably it's not in my karma. Yeah, because I did my best. Still, if it's not working, okay, we will be detached then. Thank you. Anything else? And third one?
It is the mercy of the Lord that I got.
It's the mercy of the Lord. That means I was supposed to fail. Say we failed a test. Actually, according to my karma account, I was supposed to fail the final exam. But Krishna made me fail only in test. Like that. So seeing this, we can be peaceful. So therefore, this knowledge of the tripod, there is Jiva, Ishvara, Prakriti, and sanctioning happens by Kala and Karma or Krishna's mercy. He can sanction sometimes, he need not sanction sometimes, according to whatever will help us. Then we can actually become better devotee, and that's how Krishna does for individual basis. Yeah.
So, but there's this tripod, but it could be possible that there is a web of connection between, in the sense that like multiple direction connection in between, in the sense that what is it that makes the Jeev feel and desire something? Why is the Jeev desiring something at a particular time, in a particular time and space configuration, and is not desiring something else in that time and in that space, in that situation? So is it the case, or could it be the case that the Jeev has some kind of connection with the other 2 pods, like of the tripod, that results into that kind of desire at that point?
Understood. So therefore, actually we have karma, isn't it? Now according to karma, if you have done something good for someone before, now you will also have to receive the good results. And if you have done bad, you have to receive bad results, isn't it? So sometimes at a particular instance in time, certain desires come up. One will get desired, okay, let me go to foreign land. How many of you had this desire? Okay, therefore you are here. If that desire didn't come, you will be in India. Well, at some certain point we got that desire, isn't it? Okay, let me go to foreign land. Kuch karke dikhana जीवन में. So that means that desire, why did it sprout? Because we have to undergo. Now, according to our karma, we are supposed to go to the US, come to the US. Now, without that desire, how will we land up in the US? So they can be either from karma or Krishna's mercy. Isn't it?
Then what is the source of our thoughts?
So that desire is there. The desire, it belongs to living entity. Living entity has picked up the desire from the material world to enjoy the material world. One way to enjoy is travel foreign land. That Jiva is picked up. But when will it sprout? That is Kala. When will it sprout? Such that the karma will also take shape. Understand? No? The 5 factors, Ishvara, Jiva, Prakriti, Kala, Karma, all of them work synchronously. Isn't it? For example, according to I did some research. I was looking at my horoscope chart one day when I had some extra time in my life. So I looked at my horoscope chart, and whatever, you have 12 houses and this thing in this house, and that thing in that house, so many things. So when what I would do on YouTube, I would say, okay, if this is in this house, what does it mean? And there are other people to explain it. So I was trying to understand my chart. So when I did, then one thing, I don't remember exactly what was it, but one thing in one particular house, they said, this means this person will lose all wealth in life. This was there at this certain age. And then he also said, but this can also mean either he'll lose everything or he'll take to renounced order. And that's what happened in my life. So then I got enough conviction. Okay, this was planned. So even if I say, okay, I don't want to surrender to Krishna, that choice I have. But in the material world, I would have become a pauper, probably. Like for example, for Srila Prabhupada, in his childhood, the horoscope was done. And the person who did the astrologer said, he will become one of the richest man in the world, and he'll also open 108 temples. But now you know what course of journey his life took, when he opened 108 temples. Number was given, isn't it? And that's what he did. When he was in this world, he opened 108 temples. And of course, if you count all the ISKCON property, he would have been the richest man. It's in ISKCON's name, like that. Does it make sense? So in this way, there are multiple at play.
Yeah.
Multiple factors. Yes.
So horoscope is bhagya in one sense.
Destiny. Yeah.
So how the things are happening? Because of karma or bhagya? Bhagya is written before
That's
hand.
the
Both.
$1 million
And
question.
karma, we are.
If I answer, you have to give $1 million. So what is fixed in our life is called the circumstance or destiny. For example, if you take a flight from New York to San Francisco, now you are fixing your destiny. You have made the choice that you want to go to San Francisco. You paid for the ticket. Now you are climbing the flight. Now on flight, when the flight took off, now can you say, no, I want to go to Boston instead? Can you say? No, now your destiny is fixed. Who made the choice? You made the choice. And according to your choice, destiny is fixed. Now, but you still have free will. In the flight, how will you act with others? Now, will you tease the air hostess, give trouble to the neighbor? You do this, as soon as you land in San Francisco, you will go to San Francisco jail. Or you sit next to a businessman, have a good cordial relationship and strike a deal. Then as soon as you land in San Francisco, you can become a business partner and you have good future. You understanding? So one choice fixed your one destination to San Francisco, and as the circumstance was fixed, you still have free will how to act in the circumstance. That fixed your further destination, isn't it? So our past choices have fructified as current destiny. Why are you in the US? Because you made the choice. Why do you have a particular shape and type of body? Why do you have a particular IQ? Why are you born a particular type of parents? Why are you born in a particular region in India? It's all based on your past choices. That destiny is made.
So
Yeah.
taking human birth is what? Because of my past karma.
Yeah, correct.
And in this life, everything depends on my current karma.
Not everything.
So
Not just human birth. For example, your IQ. You have a certain level of IQ. Now, can you say you are the most smartest person in the world? Can you say you are the most dumbest person in the world? That means you have a certain IQ. You can say I'm better than him, but not as good as this guy. You can put yourself at some position. Who gave you that IQ, and why did you get that IQ? That's destiny. Similarly, why are you in the US? That's destiny. So basically, in my understanding, what circumstance we are in today is our destiny. And in that circumstance, how do you make your choice determines your future destiny. So therefore, who is the maker of destiny? You yourself. But once you make the choice, once you act on that choice, you cannot go back. Now the destiny is fixed. Now in that course of that destiny, how will you make your further choices? That will determine your future destiny. You able to understand? So there are many things in our life, you came to US with intention to study, then you met a girl who came in your life, and then you had someone had an affair, and your studies went haywire, something taken different course. Why did that happen? That also destiny. That girl came in your life as destiny. Isn't it? Because there was some connection between the two. She was in the past life for some reason. Probably you met her in the past life, and ruined her studies. She came and ruined your studies.
So true.
Yeah, so this is how destiny works. So whatever circumstance today, if I am a success today, it's not because I worked hard for the success now. It could be, but it need not be. It is also because of the efforts I put in last life. We don't know which effort matches to which result. You ever understand? So if you have x1, x2, x3, xn efforts, and you have y1, y2, y3, yn results, you cannot say x1 goes to y1, x2 goes to y2, x3 goes to y3. That you cannot say. It could be anything. That Krishna decides according to past karma, what you deserve, what you don't deserve. That Krishna's mathematics. He decides all that. Therefore, what we can be satisfied with is, have we put our best effort? We do. Satisfied.
That means we have choices in every situation.
Yes.
Every day.
Yes.
And these choices are made of because of the past, or are we making right now? So that will influence the.
Correct. That is also a good question, because more we get entangled in this world, more our choices are also limited. For a cigarette smoker, what is his choice with respect to cigarette? Mostly you used to smoke it. Mostly he'll not say no. Isn't it? Because his choice is also, his free will is limited. It's just like a cow. Cow is tied to a tree, and she's given a particular radius of circle where she can graze. But if she's obedient to the laws of the master, then he'll give a bigger rope, longer rope. And if she's very obedient, he'll cut the rope, because whenever he calls, she'll come. Similarly, more we follow laws of God, more we get freedom. More we go against the laws of God, we cut down freedom, even of choice.
But in that moment, whatever decision we are making, for that the vivek, how is that operating? Like there is some free will that people have, like, right? So past life karma is there, this life karma is there, but some degree of free will is there. In that degree of free will, how would one exercise depends on something. What is that? Like why is it I could do something better, or I could do less than that, or I could do something worse? How is that determined?
So you can see the factors, they have the influence a certain proportion. Like the factors influence your thought process, your choices to say 50%, 60%, and your free will has become 40%. Sometimes 80%, your free will is on 20%. Sometimes the influence is just 20%, your free will is 80%. It depends on your conditionings with respect to different objects in life. For example, if in faced with temptation, whatever you are attached to the most, for example, Arjuna is attached to relatives. He wants to fight, but how much can he fight? He is very much conditioned. His free will is conditioned. But his good thing is he chose Krishna. He chose to surrender to Krishna. Then Krishna cut down his attachment. So therefore, more we align ourselves with the laws of God, more we become free.
True.
Because our radius of grazing increases in this world.
But
Yeah.
if something is written in my bhagya and then if something is there in my bhagya and I say I don't want that, I want something other than that, and I keep on putting karma to get the other thing.
You need not get it. So why would you again put karma? Why would you put effort in another direction, saying that I want it? Because one believes that is by my effort I will get it.
But if I believe that I'm not the doer and bhagya will play its role, then I'll just stop putting karma. If
Yeah,
bhagya
someone
says
also
I'll
asked the
be
same
millionaire,
thing.
then I'll not do anything.
Correct. Someone also asked the same question, saying that just sleeping. What is the argument against just sleeping and not putting any efforts into
No, I'll
anything?
not sleep. I'll just go do everything for fun.
For fun.
Yeah, I'll go to college. I'll just go for fun.
Yeah.
Huh? So agree?
Because if my karma says I'll get 4.2, then I'll get 4.2.
Not
Like my
necessarily.
bhagya.
Yeah, correct. So how it works, okay, I can explain. Now, say you put the seeds, the farmer has to put the seeds. He has to plow the field, put the seeds. That's his effort. Now, say the fruit is there of getting first class mango this season. The fruit is there. He deserves it. Now, for that, rains have to come. That is Krishna's mercy, or his karma, you can say. Now, if he says, anyway, I know this time harvest will be very good, I'll not put seeds on it. Now rains came, will the harvest come? So even to access what you deserve, you need to put effort. And that has to be responsible action. Why? Because action in itself is not whole. How you do action. Therefore, in purport to this verse, Prabhupada talks about the same action. A devotee goes to office, materialistic person goes to office. But there is earth and sky difference. Because devotee goes to office thinking that what I earn will be used in Krishna Seva. Materialistic people go to office thinking that whatever I earn this weekend I'm going to party and finish it off. There is big huge gulf of difference. So activity alone is not whole, complete. Activity done in what level of consciousness? That means if someone says, okay, I'll just do activity for fun, that means then he'll be taught a good lesson.
Can anyone achieve more than their bhagya?
Yes.
Who said yes? Yeah, can you explain?
I think you can, right?
Yeah.
By mercy of God only, but. I
By
don't
mercy
know.
of God, yeah.
Yeah.
By mercy of God, you can get those things in which you're not dreamt of. I'll give you an example, and with that we'll end up, and we can talk at the prasadam table, so you want to get prasadam. For this, for example, say there's a race between a Luna moped, and a Maruti and a Mercedes Benz. Who will win the race? Sure. Who will come second?
The
Maruti. Does moped have any chance? Even if you go at full speed, no chance. But what if the helicopter comes, picks up the moped and takes it ahead to the finish line? That helicopter is Krishna's mercy. So Krishna doesn't, therefore he is unlimited. He can do anything and everything. For example, if someone has said, okay, you have a life imprisonment, sentence for life imprisonment. But sometimes president of the country can come and say, okay, I think he's reformed, so I will overrule your judgment. He can do that. Similarly, Krishna can overrule any judgment. So for Krishna's devotee, Krishna can give anything. For Dhruva, by his endeavor, what was his chance of getting a kingdom greater than that of Brahma? Never heard of in history. But Krishna gave it to him. Only Krishna can do that. Then it's possible. That's okay? Further we can discuss on the prasadam table. Because we have a policy, meeting without eating is cheating. Prabhupada said. So, Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki
Jai.
Prabhupada ki
Jai.
Jai.